Tonight, WECT investigates how a $1,000 laptop purchase ended up costing a town $10,000.
Taxpayers in Leland are now on the hook not just for the computer, but also for a legal bill because of a dispute over a town council member's laptop. WECT's investigative reporter Connor Smith digging into the details tonight. You talked to the council member at the center of this entire controversy, Connor.
Yeah, I did, John. And now this all starts with a simple request from one town council member asking for his town-issued laptop. But what followed ultimately cost Leland taxpayers $10,000.
That was an expensive laptop.
Leland Town Council member Frank Pendleton was surprised when we showed him the town's recent legal bills.
I think it's an awful lot of money, and I think it's unfortunate for the taxpayers of Leland.
Pendleton's town-issued laptop cost the town $1,000. The review into the ensuing controversy cost $10,000.
Of course, it could have been better spent. I mean, there's a number of things they could have spent $10,000 on.
In January, Pendleton reached out directly to the company sending the computer. Town manager David Hollis had told Pendleton the laptop would take 13 weeks to arrive. Pendleton thought Hollis was lying, something the manager disputes.
I don't have a problem with Mr. Pendleton. There's been accusations of a deliberate delay. None of that is true.
In February, Town Council directed their attorney to investigate. Council members said they were concerned Pendleton broke town policy, even state law, by directly contacting the company. 2 weeks ago, town attorney Stephen Coggins produced this 31-page report. The probe found Pendleton did not break any laws, but likely violated town policy, which only lets staff deal with vendors on purchases.
It's unfortunate for the town, but more importantly, it's unfortunate for the council because it's a bad look.
The legal invoice shows lawyers spent over 30 hours on the review, charging taxpayers $300 an hour. But the town attorney only talked with Pendleton for 30 minutes.
There was a lot of work that was done. It was unnecessary work. I mean, we could have hashed this out in about 15 minutes, but it didn't.
Pendleton says the laptop is supposed to arrive at Town Hall by the end of the week, bringing the months-long controversy to a close, but with a hefty legal bill. Now, we reached out to all the other Leland Town Council members today. Veronica Carter was the only one who responded. Her statement says this entire situation could have been avoided if every council member had been familiar with the town's policy. Connor Smith, WECT News.